Hi, my name is Susie Stapp Gurley. I'm the daughter of the late Paul and Linda Stapp from Bartlesville. I don't remember a time in my life that the Skurcenskis were not part of it. As a young kid, I can remember spending time at their house with my friend Amy. One of my earliest memories is also being with the Skurcenskis and the bus booms at the Fin and Feather Lodge at Lake Tenkiller. That was always a really fun trip that we did when we were young kids and our families traveled together and vacationed together. And Lou was always so much fun. He was the really fun dad. I mean, I loved my dad and he was great, but Lou was the fun guy and he always made everything exciting. And I can remember him like giving us little challenges, even as kids. There was an arcade at Fin and Feather, and he would want to challenge us to like, who's going to win? Who's going to, get the top score in the pinball machine and things like that. As I got a little bit older, I remember riding in Lou's Rambler with the special horn. Those of you guys who've known the Skurcenskis for a long time know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to make the sound because I'll sound like an idiot, but it was one of those ooga horns, and he would pull up in the driveway to pick me up, to go do something with Amy. And he would sound that horn, and that's how I knew that they were there to pick me up. And then as we got into high school and Amy and I became even closer friends, I can remember spending the night at their house, and we would stay in the basement and sleeping bags on the floor and stay up too late watching movies and talking about boys and all that. And Lou would always come down no later than 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and wake us up. And he would come in and he would turn on all the lights and he would say, "Good morning, girls, get up, the day's a-wasting." And Amy would be like, "Dad, no, I don't want to get up. It's too early, no." And he'd say, "Come on, girls, it's a beautiful day. It's time to get moving." And we would always be so frustrated, but then we would, of course, laugh because he was so funny. I have some really great memories too of riding to different out-of-town basketball games, Bartlesville basketball games, of course, with Lou and Stephanie and Amy. I would often get to go with them when Bartlesville was playing on the road, and we just had a good time. And Lou was always kind of another second father figure to me because I did spend so much time with their family, and he always, once he got his cancer diagnosis, he handled it with such grace and composure, and he never complained, and he never was mad or angry about his illness or his diagnosis or all the treatments that he had to endure, the pain that he had to endure, the travel. He never did anything but show incredible humility and grace, and he was such an example of an incredible Christian man all the way to the end of his life. And I remember coming to visit with him shortly before he passed away. And even then, he was encouraging me and talking to me about my life and what was happening with me and wanting to know what my goals and dreams were at that point in my life. And that to me just really exemplifies who Lou was as a person, as a human being. I know that this induction into the Bartlesville Athletic Hall of Fame has a lot to do with him being an incredible athlete and a 66er and a basketball player. But that really, when I think about Lou, I think about those times. Now, there were some basketball times for sure. Lou and my dad coached mine and Amy's, I don't even remember how old we were, elementary school Phillips basketball team. And you would have thought that this was like the, AAU of 8-year-olds, but that, I don't even think that existed at the time. We were probably older than that. I think we were late grade school. And they would draw up these elaborate plays. I do remember this. And Kelly Epps was on our team. And so we would always Amy and I would be like, just get the ball to Kelly because she's going to score 50 points anyway. And so they would draw these elaborate plays up. and we would never do them because we just got the ball to Kelly and she scored, all the points pretty much. And they would get frustrated with us because we didn't run the plays. And we're like, well, why would we bother when we have, this future college all-star on our team? And I don't know. Those are my athletic memories with Lou, and the rest of them are just more personal. And, like I said, being almost like a second father to me, and always guiding, directing, leading, being a faithful presence in the lives of not only me, but my family. After my dad died, he was continued to be part of my brother's lives and impact them. And that's just who he was. Even throughout his illness, he was still always thinking about other people and how he could impact other people and guide and lead them.
Lou Skurcenski. You had to love Lou. What distinguished him so much was that he just was this steady presence. He just appreciated everybody else. He didn't care about how many points he scored. He cared about how many points the other guy scored. And he would hit the boards and pass, catch a pass and pass again. End of the game, you'd have a lot of points, but you never knew it. You couldn't tell. He always stood back. He let everybody else have the spotlight. I don't know if he didn't want the spotlight or he just stayed out of the spotlight so everybody else could have it. There wasn't one twitch of flash and dash, look at me, pass behind my back, through my legs, over my head. Just get the ball and give it to the other guy. And if he got a basket, it was probably off a rebound. He was just steady and unassuming and calming. It's no wonder they called him Squeaks. That was about the only noise that guy would ever make. A little squeak. He was just this. He was the center, But there's another way of thinking about him as a center. He was that center that everybody else revolved around so that they could be at their best. It wasn't that he gave up everything for everybody. It was that he gave to everybody. Yeah, he'd taken a permanent residence in everybody who played with him, in the heart of everybody who played with him, and everybody who knew him. Squeaks was a gift.
All right, so have you given any thought to what you might say about Mr. Skurcenski?
I'm one of the few people who can say his name. Lou.
So were there any nicknames that came out of Skurcenski?
Nope, nothing. It was funny when we were at the research center. He was, the consummate professional. He was he was an analytical chemist, and that's all there was to that. And so we solved analytical problems no matter what came in. As I described to you earlier, we had samples come in worldwide. We had samples just to support the people at the research center. They're all over the place, and everyone was different, and our group was probably one of the more complex groups, and Lou was a member of that group, so he helped us out from the chromatography side. So that was very good.
And what do you know about his sports side?
Nothing.
Okay, well,
I know he was a basketball player. I mean, the guy was tall, okay? So you're sitting there going like, this is a tall guy. He should be playing basketball. But I did not know anything at all about his career in '66, nothing. Okay. Like I said, when he was at the research center, he was really focused on his job. And more than most, he was really good at that. So, and very personable, very friendly, very curious, always was very curious to find out what was going on. So that was good.
So did that curiosity make him a go-to person for a problem?
Yes, and that was the main function of our group, was that we were kind of not a routine analysis. We were more of a unique one-time analysis, go-to kind of thing. So being a member of the group, he would sometimes field questions and then he would bring those to the rest of us, or we would field questions and then take them to him. It would vary around. It was more of a team effort than anything else. So it was a kind of a different team. It wasn't a basketball team, it was an analytical team. And that was a lot of fun. But he was a lot of fun to work with. Real easygoing, never got uptight about anything, just super simple to work with. Great guy to work with.
What do you have any thoughts on what his community involvement was besides just his work? I mean, was that anything?
Not really, because at that time I was more focused on my career.
Okay.
And so we really never really talked about other opportunities. And at that time there really wasn't it wasn't like today where you've got Mary Martha and you've got
Right.
Tuesday House and
Okay.
all the community, the Lighthouse, all the things that
Right.
you can get involved with.
Okay.
This was in '77.
That's okay. Let's start with that. When did you first meet or work with Lou?
My career started at Phillips in June of 1977. Everybody remembers their career date. And I met Lou when I first started working with the group. I worked with Claude Long and Bug Stafford and Lou. And that was our little group for the mass spectroscopy and the GCMS group. And so we just would function together and never really interacted. It was more problem solving than anything else. What was the characteristic that really stood out about Lou? And I would say just how he professionally handled himself on the job. Now, I don't know about his outside activities or his basketball work or anything like that, but as far as his science went, when he was at the research center, he was the consummate professional. I mean, he would be very customer oriented. He would ask questions. He would be curious. He would try to find out all the facts that he could before he really attacked a problem. Impressive kind of guy.
Okay.
Did you wanna- Okay, so once again, if you'll repeat this in your statement,
Okay,
but because it won't have me speaking, but
right.
do you have any good memories or anything that happened at work that just stood out to you as kind of a story about Lou?
Not really. I mean, it was more of a day-to-day type activity. Like I said, it was just the joy of coming to work and being able to work with, three great guys, and Lou was one of them. And so there was there was never really any downside to the work during the day. It was just fun to work together on solving problems.
Not many people say that anymore.
Not anymore.
I was like, well, it's pretty nice. I was like, can we just talk about that?
Yeah.
That
Like I
was
said,
really nice.
this was back in '77. So, and I was a newbie.
Okay,
So
I'm
I
gonna
was
have you-
reaching out.
I'm going to have you state that. Say, I met Lou in 1977. I was a newbie, and I met him. If you'll kind of just state that.
Had he been working there longer than you?
That I
roughly?
don't know.
Just
I
don't-
don't know
don't say
what
don't know,
his
just-
his was. But because I joined the group, that was June of '77. That was my
Okay.
first month to basically meet Lou and start working
So, okay,
together.
will you start over and just say that part?
Okay.
Okay.
The time that I first met Lou was when my career started with Phillips in June of '77. So that kind of gives you a time frame. Is when we were wearing ties and all that good stuff. So, but he was very professional in how he handled himself, and it was just super simple to work with him because it was just a lot of fun to come to work every day and work on problems with him. He's an easygoing, rambling kind of guy.
That was good. Looking to, there's good. Most of your sports question. Stand out, you already said that. Memory.
I don't have a really good story.
That's okay.
That was one of your questions.
There's one thing you know about that. One question is one thing you know about that no one else knows. You probably don't have any. So can you think of another question? I mean, that's a good statement that we have about work.
Yeah, I like the statement.
I liked the ties, because I forgot, when my husband
Oh, we
started
did.
working at
And
Phillips.
everybody, because we were
He had to wear suits every
working with
day.
rotating equipment, everybody walked around with their ties GI style, tucked in at the second button, because you had to wear them, and you just dealt with it. But being around rotating equipment and safety issues, everybody tucked them in.
So is there anything that you talked to him about other than gas chromatographs?
We really didn't have any discussions as far as extracurricular activities, church, social. I don't think they had any children, and we didn't have any children at that time. We had one little girl at that time. So there wasn't really a connection there in any fashion. He was just like I said, just a pretty straight shooter. So it was fun.
So then my next question is, if you'll, maybe just how long, if you'll say, I worked with Lou for, like, how long did you end up working with him at the research center, I'm assuming, if you'll add that in?
Let's see here. I got out of the analysis branch, I think in about 83 or 84. I changed careers, went down and worked on the incinerator. Worked over in the catalyst lab. So that got me out of the analysis branch, so I would have had, about a 5 or 6 year career with him, interacting.
All right, anything
All right.
else you want to say about his,
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Pam.
It's
Yeah,
fine,
I
it looks
bet so.
fine, it looks
I would
fine.
too.
It looks fine.
Yeah.
So, is there anything, like you'd said, he's a professional, he's a problem solver, is there any other words that would maybe describe him?
Just his easygoing spirit. I mean, the guy was a pleasure to work with, and that's about the best I can say. It just you look forward to getting together every morning, and problem solving together. It was fun. It wasn't work. It was fun.